Hi there, Tracy here. It's that time of year. Simon Says Stamps World Fabulous Stamptember. In today's video, I will make a card using the Stamptember collaboration with Simon Says Stamps and Trinity Stamps. So let's hop right into the video. Okay, so here it is. Our birthday gnomes are, I think these are ice cream gnomes. Yeah, ice cream gnomes, Stamptember collaboration with Simon Says Stamps. And they sent me the stamp and the coordinating die. We've got Trinity Stamps full size A2 shaker windows. I've got the Stars and Sprinkles 6x6 stencil set, and I've got some cotton candy paper from Simon Says Stamps. And those are some of the supplies we'll be using. So I'm going to grab my sticky mat, and I've got Distress Oxides in Squeeze Lemonade, Kish Flamingo, Cracked Pistachio, and Tumbled Glass. So I'm doing kind of pastel-y colors here. And I've got my brushes that I have specifically for Distress Oxides. These are Trinity Stamps Blending Buddies. And I'm going to start with my first layer. And I'm kind of lining it up, but kind of not, because these are etched. And so because they're etched, you can match them up. And it's very easy. Now, I have to say, the first card that I did, I had a little bit of trouble because I tried to do white stars and I could not see them underneath the stencil. So I shifted gears and grabbed another color, because I do need 4 colors because there are 4 layers. So anyway, we're super excited at Trinity, and we are actually having a hop. And so there is a link to the hop playlist listed down below. And I hope you'll join along and watch all of the designers from the Trinity Stamps team hopping along with this stamp and die set. So now I'm going in with the Kish Flamingo. And I'm going, you can see that I'm going in 2 different directions, making sure that I get good coverage here. And the funny part is a lot of this will be covered, but a lot of it won't. So I really wanted this to be quite the festive card. So with it, between this and all the shaker bits, it is definitely festive. You definitely won't forget it's a birthday. And then if you follow me on Instagram, I've done a couple of other cards as well, but they are not included in the video because I wanted to keep the video, relatively decently timed here. So now I'm coming in with my Cracked Pistachio, and I only have a blue brush. I don't have a green brush. So I'm just brushing off as much of the excess blue that I can just onto a piece of paper towel. These are going to be pretty paper towels when they're done. And then I'll go ahead and grab my Cracked Pistachio. Full faith that the Distress Oxide is thick enough that I'll be able to have enough on the tip of the brush to not get the blue in there. And you can see that I'm right. Okay, got our Cracked Pistachio layer. And what the cool thing about Distress Oxides is that you can do them over colored paper, and they keep their true color. I'm pretty close. Obviously, they're going to be tinted a little bit, but not much. All right, let's make sure this one's lined up. And I'm just lining up the etch marks with the already stenciled parts I can see. And finally, I'll come in with my tumble glass and just stencil that out. Now, some of my inks are juicier than others, and that's, typical because we use some more than others. I don't use tumble glass or Cracked Pistachio that often. I don't know why. They're beautiful colors. Okay, so we've got our background done. And now I've got my shaker pouch, and this, by the way, looks cloudy, and it does because there's a protective cover. And I'm grabbing some double-sided tape here, and this is 1/4-inch tape, and I'm just adding tape all along the side little flaps. And I do that before I burnish just because I can see it better and it's not bendy on me. And then I'm going to trim off the excess because I just can't do excess. Lies. No, just kidding. All right, get that excess trimmed off. And then I'll go ahead and flip it over and burnish down the tape. And then I'll fold the sides and burnish them as well. Super, super easy way to make a shaker, friends. Okay, and then the final side. Just making sure that it's all burnished down. And then I'm going to dry fit, make sure that my paper fits in there perfectly. If I have to trim any, I will. But nope, it fits perfectly, so I can go ahead and release the tape on 3 sides. So I'm going to release into a U shape, leaving the top side open until I'm ready to fill it with my shaker bits. And the other cool thing about these is you can put a lot of shaker bits in there, and you're going to see, because I'm going to curate a bunch of different shaker bits to create my party inside. And that's what a shaker card is. It's just an extra little party. Okay, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm still leaving that protective cover on. And here I've got out all of my sprinkles, and I've got multiple sprinkles going on here. And I'm just going to take and put them into my tidy tray. I'm going to take a couple of those round ones out just because I don't want too many round ones, circly ball ones in there. And then I'm just adding more shaker bits, and I'll list the shaker bits that I used in the description box below. These pastel colored ones are brand new at the shop. So we'll grab some of these pineapple colored ones. And these are the white ones. See, I haven't even opened some of them. Pour a few of those in. You can see there's a lot of shaker going on there. I'm going to grab some of these watermelon sparkle spots because I like the dark pink contrast. And sparkle spots are great in shakers. I'm going to add some of these little cereals from, gosh, I want to say, what release was it? Our March release? I don't recall. Then add some of this peach colored one. And then finally add some of these pink ones. And I like to just mix them all in my little tidy tray as opposed to pouring them directly in, just in case I have a terrible accident. So I'll just open up that shaker pouch and tap those in there. And then I can close the top portion. And just make sure I burnish it down really well. And look how beautiful that is. I just love that. Now there's a little plastic coating, so I'm pulling the coating off now. And it's going to get a whole lot shinier here in a minute. It's super, super thin. And I start pulling it off from the back so I don't accidentally scratch the front. And there is our beautiful shaker background. Love it. I could do a card just with that. I'd be perfectly happy. But alas, I'm going to grab these ice cream gnomes, and I'm going to stamp out the cupcake guy and color him. And I think I'm going to have his beard be vanilla ice cream. In my other ones, I did an orange sherbet and I did a caramel cake because I like caramel cake. All right, so I've got here, so this is some Hammermill 100-pound paper, and I've got my Simon Hurley Stellar ink, which I love using with alcohol markers. So I'll stamp that out, clean off my stamp, and then we'll get to coloring him. And I'm going to speed up the coloring like super, super fast. So, and I am using my Ohuhu markers because that's what I have, and I'm perfectly happy with them. And then just kind of coloring this out. And it's fairly simple coloring. I'm not going too crazy with the shading. Get a little pink going on in his little cheeks. And just add a little shadow there above the nose. And then I've got these tan colors for which I'm making this vanilla drip. Because vanilla is kind of yellowy. It's not really actually pure white. And this could be pecan too if I threw some pecans in there, but I'm not going to be doing that. And then I've got some light green colors here for his little cupcake wrapper. And like I said, doing simple coloring on that because it's very, very small. And then I'll do his little belt in the same tan that I did the ice cream cone. And then I decided to do the belt buckle pink. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Because it was right in front of me, and sometimes I'm a lazy crafter. So I'm going to take my white pencil and add some white highlights. And then I'll follow that up with a pen. Sometimes I struggle with my pen, though, friends. Come on. All right, he's ready to go. Let's go ahead and just trim him out, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut him out with the coordinating die. Let's get these open. Haven't even opened them yet. So there's still the cellophane stuck to the sticky lines on there. And I don't want to rip my cellophane because I want to store it in this package. So I'm going to grab my little silicone brush here and just use it to kind of hold this apart while I pull the plastic off. And there we go. Voila. So I'll grab the correct die. And I'll throw a little tape down on there to hold it still. And then I'll run it through my little scout machine. Let's see, there we go. There they are. And cuts out super easy, small enough to fit into a space next to my desk. So zoom out here for you a little bit because I was zoomed in with the coloring. And then I'm going to cut a piece of this vellum. This is some Pear Blossom Press vellum. And I'm using our Emergency Card Kit Essentials #1 to make this little scallop circle. So we'll go ahead and get that cut out. The only thing about this small trimmer is you do have to, if you're using A2 paper, you have to trim it off because it's a little bit wide for the opening. The opening's 3.5. Okay, so I've got these parts. I know what they're going to be doing. All I need now is my sentiment. So I am going to grab the extra sprinkles sentiment out of the kit. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down with just some VersaFine Clair on a white scrap. Make sure that's good and stuck down to my little mat. I need to dust my mat again. So just using the VersaFine Clair and Nocturne, stamp it down once, it's good to go. Move my stamp out of the way, and I want to stamp the middle of the card. So I'm going to grab the Happy Birthday, and this is the same cardstock, and I made it into a top folding card base. And I can see that I'm going to need to add a magnet here. There we go. Just to make sure, because it may have moved on me and I didn't notice. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the VersaFine Clair again, and I may take 2 or 3 stamps because my paper's not down firmly. And it's a brand new, pretty good size stamp. We'll go 3rd time's a charm here. And there we go. And I'm going to set that aside, leave it open while it dries. And then I'll go ahead and cut the extra sprinkles sentiment out. And again, I'll trim off my paper first so that it all fits in nicely into my little scout. Okay. Whoops. Sometimes I forget where parts are to it. I'm going to grab my piece of tape that I used before and tape it down so it doesn't move on me. And we'll go ahead and run it through. Pull it out. There we go. Ready to go. Now we're ready to put this card together. This is the easy part. Well, the whole thing is easy. It's just a little time consuming. So the first thing I want to do before I start laying things down onto this background piece with the shakers, I'm going to go ahead and tape it down to the actual card base. That way I can pop things up and, you know, I have a flat surface here to work with. I don't have to try and work around my other pieces. So I'm going to put tape all around all 4 edges, and I'm going to grab a couple of pieces and put them in the center. I'm going to burnish that down, and then I'm going to just try and pull up just a corner and kind of fold it upward. Sometimes I struggle with this tape. It's just my fingers and my depth perception. Let's see, let's try and get this top one. Come on. Here we go. Okay. And then I'll pull the center ones completely off, and I'm leaving the top one on so that I can line it up and it doesn't stick before I'm ready for it to stick. Once it's lined up, I'll press down, and those 2 little pieces will stick to the middle, giving me a chance to pull off the backers off the rest of it. There we go. That's ready to go, and it's all nice and even. Now I've got my little gnome and just kind of auditioning how I want to put things. And I want to pop my little gnome up. So I'm just going to grab some foam tape strips and just make sure they're fitting on here properly. Nothing's sticking out the edge. Get one smack here in the middle. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue that down to the piece of vellum. And then I'll set something heavy on it for a few moments just to give it a chance to dry so it doesn't move around on me. Because I am using my Linoco bookbinding glue. It doesn't dry as quick as, say, your art glitter glue, but the price is right. So that's all stuck together. Now I'm just going to use double-sided tape again to stick this to the card. That ensures that it sticks well and it's stuck where I stuck it when it stuck. Hey! So I'll pull off the backers here. And then we'll get that stuck down to the card. We'll do the sentiment, and then I'm going to add just a few more sprinkles because it's an extra sprinkles kind of day. So I'll get that stuck down. That's good and stuck down, and I will use tape as well to stick this sentiment down. I'm not going to pop it up. Just little gnomes going to be popped up for today. And I'm just going to tuck it just ever so slightly underneath the bottom of the cupcake. Make sure it's stuck down nice and good. And then I've got a few extra little sprinkles here in my tidy tray. And I'm going to just add glue and lay those down, and that'll complete the card. So don't forget to hop along and check out what everybody else made with the Stamptember Trinity release collaboration. Don't forget to leave your thumbs up and, leave a comment. And if you can, it'd be great if you would subscribe. And if you do, hit that notification bell so you get notified each time I upload a video. Words are hard this morning. It's, 5 a.m. when I'm doing this. I'm still on my first cup of coffee, but there we go. All done. And I will leave some still photos because I'm going to do his little nose with some glossy accents. I'm going to leave you with some still photos because my camera and the time of day it is doesn't seem to want to pick up the proper pink. So here it is, but happy birthday. Little shaker with lots and lots of shaker bits. And I will again have everything listed in the description box below. Thanks so much for stopping by and spending your time with me. Here are the still photos that I promised. I hope you have a fabulous day. And take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Happy Stamptember.